Welcome. I think it's Mr. Phil Astle. Yeah! G'day. I've been asked to stop using memes in work emails. And it was a real big tool of mine, but it was effective. But apparently HR have an issue with me sending memes saying, "Make the workplace great again, Donald Trump for CEO." My name's Phil. Wasn't the greatest name growing up. I was always the only Phil at school. Big shout out to Mum and Dad for naming me after a middle-aged man. You fucking just could have called me Trevor. But what it did was it did allow some half-decent nicknames. So I had Phil McCrevice, Phil McCracken, Phil Me Up and Down, and my favourite, Hey Dickhead. So I grew up in a cult, but it was actually really shit. The leader had no imagination, so there was none of the good stuff. There was no sex, there was no human sacrifice. It was like going to Scouts every week and never going camping. Or it's like barracking for Melbourne and never going to the fucking footy. But the whole family was in the cult, including my identical twin sisters, who I should add were identical to each other and not me. And they're quite relieved about that. But I would argue that I have way better tits. My granddad, he's got advanced Alzheimer's. He's at that stage where he doesn't remember you, so you've got to reintroduce yourself every time. And it's not all bad because, I've been able to be a lawyer, a doctor, even an astronaut. And this morning when I went to visit, I thought it'd be funny to introduce myself as a porn star, which is great, until he asked to see my cock. And I'm in therapy for a few reasons. But my private health extras have run out, and those sessions are bloody expensive. So, and I can think of better ways to spend $200 an hour. But whilst I was here, I thought maybe I'd share a pivotal moment with you from my life. And I want to take you back to 1993. I was 15 at the time, and the world was different back then. Food allergies weren't really a thing. Sometimes you just shit your pants unexpectedly. I still do sometimes. But I woke up one night to the sound of swishing water coming from inside the house. And I'm laying there thinking, what the fuck is that? And it didn't sound like the washing machine or the dishwasher. And then it hit me like a tsunami. Mum and Dad had a waterbed. And I will say that no 15-year-old should ever hear their mother in the throes of passion. But I was left with an ethical dilemma. Do I cough loudly and know I'm awake and maybe they'll stop or at least keep the noise down? Or do I lean into it and give it a bit of... in the hope that they might go back to their own room? Don't judge. Like I said, 1993, pre-internet, porn was hard to come by. And you were doing really well if you could get yourself a copy of the Bras and Things catalogue. And I'm sure that there's middle-aged men in this room can identify with this, but I remember going down the local newsagents full of fear and anticipation. Standing there browsing the magazines, acting all casual, pretending I couldn't decide whether I wanted to buy a Smash Hits magazine or a surfing magazine, and I looked like this as well, so I fucking definitely didn't look like I could surf. And then the shop would be empty, and I'd grab that magazine, and I strode to the counter with that confidence that says, I am definitely 18, but then I'd pay with 5 and 10 cent pieces I've been stealing out of Mum's purse for the last 3 months. And then I had to get it home. So you put the magazine up my jumper, and all the way home I'm thinking, when can I get the house to myself so I can give this a really good crack? But I had to get it inside, and I reckon it'd been less stressful trying to escape from prison than trying to get something past my mum. So eventually I get it inside and I grabbed the magazine out and I realised under all that pressure I fucked up. And I accidentally picked up a copy of Better Homes and Gardens. Which kind of explains why I get hard walking around the botanical gardens these days. But I digress. I've got to go back to the dilemma, and the sound of the waterbed had stopped and it had been replaced with hushed arguing. Mum's getting angry, Dad's getting defensive. Mum was annoyed because she hadn't finished. And in that moment, I really felt for my dad because I knew how hard he worked. He had to get up early in the morning to support the family, to go to work. And I think once you're married, surely you need to put a time limit on it. And I think, 10:30, which means I'm good to go right up until 10:28. And so, really, really felt for Dad. And he did not deserve that amount of anger. He certainly did not deserve both Mum and I being angry because I hadn't finished either. You guys have been great. Thank you.
Phil Astle, big hand, come on! Funny and slightly disturbing.